companies do to help solve this problem?
So we're seeing quite a few companies, like the different bottling companies, are making commitments to recover bottles. They want to get those materials back. They are valuable materials. Water bottles, soda bottles, any kind of beverage containers are really valuable materials. And when collected properly and then managed and recycled, they can actually be recycled back into themselves. We're in process of completing a certification, closed loop certification for a beverage company that actually worked out a deal with one of their online retailers to take back all the plastic bottles from the products that they sell. The online retailer collected all those back, bailed them up, and then they went through a complete process of recycling those bottles and turning them back into new beverage bottles. So if more companies would step up and do that, that would be a really big help to facilitate the collection of those materials and ensuring that they are coming back and being recycled back into other useful materials instead of ending up in the environment. The other thing I think is really important is education. Big companies, and it's not just the bottling companies, because they get a bad rap because their materials are always in the ocean. Of course, their labels are on there, but it's also the retail outlets that sell them. You have different stores that you can run into. You can get gas, and you can basically buy soft drinks or bottled water. And they do usually provide recycling containers and trash containers at these locations, but there still are a lot of people that don't do the right thing, and they end up throwing these on the ground. In fact, I was out this morning walking our dog, and there's a park right behind our house, and they had a big baseball tournament this past weekend. And there, I couldn't believe the amount of litter that people left around up there. It was ridiculous. There's trash containers everywhere, and there was water bottles all over the place. There was plastics like chip bags and sandwich bags and everything on the ground. And it's just ridiculous that people do this. But that's where it comes down to really encouraging recycling. I know we're working with some different companies to promote the recovery of these materials, letting people know that when they do actually properly recycle them, they can actually turn into valuable materials, possibly get upcycled into maybe building materials or into other beverage bottles, different things like that. And there are companies also doing some really neat things right now. We just recently did some life cycle assessment work for Reynolds Hefty company, and they actually have a program where they are collecting a lot of plastics that aren't easy to put in your recycling bin. Things like the film plastic, the chip bags, the cookie bags, things like that, and that those materials are then being collected, and some of them are going off for use as a fuel in cement kilns. Some of them are going off to pyrolysis plants where they can take those materials and they will turn them back into a kind of like an oil that can be made back into other plastics. And some of them are going off and being blended into building materials. So we're seeing companies stepping up, providing the infrastructure, and that's where our big limitations are. Where there's limitations in infrastructure, that's a problem because it's not easy to collect a lot of these complicated materials, like not just the beverage bottles, but also the film plastics.